Let's do business. 55 minutes is what we have in this world of business. And here's what we have prepared for you. SMEs in South Africa aren't so confident. PMI dips. Kenya is targeting 5.5 million tourists by 2027. All virtual assets in Ghana must register or face sanctions. You're welcome to the program. I'm Ini John Mekwa, and this is Business Incorporated. We start as usual from the global space where oil prices held steady as investors balance a weaker demand outlook from the International Energy Agency with signs of tight near-term supply and geopolitical tension. So we look at the numbers at this time and we see an increase, a little bit of recovery from what we had in the morning. $68.83 a barrel after Brent has gained 0.28%. WTI is also up 0.38%, $66.82 a barrel, despite concerns of an oil glut later on this year. Tight summer refinery runs and strong travel demand are supporting current prices. Saudi Arabia is expected shipment of 51 million barrels to China in August. It's the largest over 2 years. Also signals robust prompt demand. The IEA raised the 2024 supply forecast but trimmed demand growth projections. Meanwhile, OPEC lowered its long-term oil demand outlook because of slowdown in Chinese consumption. Markets remain cautious as U.S. President Donald Trump hints at a major announcement on Russia, raising the risk of further sanctions. The EU is also preparing a new sanctions package, including a potential floating price cap on Russian oil. For the week, Brent was set for 0.8% gain, while WTI faced a slight weekly decline for the week. In the metal space, gold prices rose for a third straight session on Friday, lifted by growing trade tensions and expectations of U.S. interest rate cuts. So we see the numbers looking beautiful, actually. Spot gold is up 0.85%, $3,354.10 per ounce. U.S. gold is also up almost 1%, $3,357.30. Spot silver more than 3% in the green, $38.43 per ounce. Platinum is up 1.35% at $1,431.50. Palladium is up 3.1%. The metals are actually looking very good, being an edge at this time at $1,235 per ounce. And we know that the gold also drew support from dovish Federal Reserve signals as Fed Governor Christopher Waller reaffirmed the possibility of a rate cut this month, while San Francisco Fed President Mary Daly said that 2 cuts remain on the table for the year. Lower interest rates make non-yielding assets like gold more attractive. Elsewhere, of course, we've seen the alternatives there and what investors are doing. And then we come home to Nigeria, where it looks like the disagreement on the diversion of the route of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road is far from over, even though the Minister of Works, David Umahi, has held meetings with some affected individuals. The latest is a protest taken to the Federal Ministry of Works at the Tafawa Balewa Square in Lagos. The placards capture the grievances of this group of Nigerians.
The people I represented this morning, the foreign investors, pool hard-earned resources in diaspora, up to $250 million US together to support the administration of the Renew Hope agenda of our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, in Okun-Ajah axis, with the hope of constructing a beautified estate of our own dream. All we had was to see the Minister of Works come with a notion to divert the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road from its initial original alignment. By the time it gets to kilometer 16, David Umahi, the Honorable Minister himself, admitted in a public speech, public interview, that he had to divert it into our property because of the West African cables.
Our demands are simple. In a road construction that involves the government, there's always a term of negotiation between the owners of properties has been destroyed and the government. But what we see in this situation is a minister who decided to use his own power and authority over the people. And that was why he chose to pay peanuts to the people whose property has been destroyed.
In a move that signals a new era of integrated healthcare financing and technology in Africa, stakeholders have gathered in Lagos, urging the need for a connected ecosystem for the critical sector. They're speaking while reflecting on a major strategic shift for the sector, which is expanding its footprint and ambition from a healthcare technology startup to a full-scale ecosystem builder for Africa's health sector. The digital financial platform says that it provides healthcare and essential businesses with access to seamless transactions in 48 hours.
What we've just done today is to relaunch and to re-announce our ambition for the healthcare sector. Over the last couple of years, we've built systems, we've mobilized funding, and we continue to drive innovative solutions that works for healthcare businesses. And today, we are re-announcing those solutions and also birthing new ones that we believe will work for healthcare businesses. For us, we will not leave building our healthcare system to outsiders. We'll continue to build technology solutions and we'll continue to build financial solutions that everyday healthcare businesses can find useful to serve their customers. We've launched an improved version of our HMO software, which is already in use by some HMOs. We made it to be simpler, more efficient, and more customer friendly. And also, we've launched for the first time our financing solution for healthcare businesses.
What we offer today are one, provider finance to the healthcare sector, which basically means that if you need financing for any of your activities in the health sector, you can come to us and we will finance you. We have touched the lives of over 2,000 small businesses, small to medium-sized businesses, mostly women-led businesses that employ tens of thousands of people that would have otherwise been, put into the labor force, unemployment. But because we're able to provide them, financing support, they have remained in business and they have continued to employ those people. So that's the kind of impact that our business has. We know what we're doing. We know how we're impacting the lives of Nigeria. We know how a lot of people, over 1.3 million lives that we manage today, over 700,000 people we help to onboard for HMOs and other entities that we have collaboration with. And all these people having access to healthcare has changed their lives, because when you're ill and you are looking for money to pay for your hospital bill, that's when you know the the importance and impact of health insurance. So when you have health insurance and you find out that you don't have to pay out of pocket for that treatment because you had paid some funds earlier, then you can imagine the relief. And that's what we offer. That's the kind of service that we bring to bear on the industry.
The Maritime Mohammed Area Commander of Nigeria Customs Service says the locally developed B Odogu platform has been working in its speed and efficiency since its operation within that command in May this year. The Comptroller of the command, Michael Awe, explains that he reckons that there are about 70% compliance level in the declaration of cargoes, but airliners are not cooperating in the use of the new platform, as they have decided to stick to their other platform that's about to be phased out.
Bodogo is here already, and thank God the performance is credible. So no network failure, everything is working accordingly, and we are very, very fortunate here. Most of the commands, 92 is completely shut down, but we are still very lucky here. Boats, they still work very pursuit, they are still together. So, but Bodogu is taking the highest, highest level in the area of operations. So what we are only experiencing is the airliners that are supposed to be dropping their manifest to Bodogu. So, but with time, and we have been saying that because once 962 is shut down, I pray that they won't have issue. So, but the level of compliance is okay. And personally, I'm going to schedule a meeting to sensitize them so that they can as well follow suit.
The federal government is considering the establishment of mechanized commercial farms and livestock operations in 10 Nigerian universities, and this is supposed to be part of effort to boost food production and agricultural innovation. Well, reacting to this development, the managing director of Banjoko Farms Limited, Mr. Tunde Banjoko, says this is a good initiative. Knows that it holds multiple benefits for farmers and also for the country as per food supply. However, is asking the government to go a step further by empowering farmers with the tools and resources and to take away politics in its implementation.
This university idea is a very lovely idea and is meant to even transform, because they said they are starting with 10 universities. And they also went further to say they are also going to empower 6 more universities to have research and testing. I mean, they will have research and they will have them as for some testing of some of their projects. So if all this is coming on board, but nobody can say, we don't even know when to ask them. I think they gave them 2 weeks to submit their report. So we'll be waiting after 2 weeks to see if there'll be progress, and even no amount was mentioned in this one. Like the one of last year, they said 1 billion per university. We don't know how much they are giving to them now. So I think we need, maybe one thing, like you said, we need to start separating politics from governance. It's very important. We have not been doing that in Nigeria. Everything is politicized. Even when you see in some states, you hear this editorial district, they are giving out equipment. But funny enough, the media always expose you. Some of them thanking the senators to say, we are card carrying members. So you only give it to card carrying members. And you say you're empowering your senatorial districts with tractors, with equipment. But only party members are benefiting. And what still happened recently in one state, which I, of course, I won't mention. And then the guy that got the tractors didn't know the value, sold it maybe 2 million. So somebody sold it at a because all in there was money. But he won it during their rally and all that. So we need to separate politics and governance from it. And we need to also now be more transparent with our requirement and execution.
And now let's talk business, global business and innovation, especially looking at multinational brands at this time. And we're having this conversation with James Sachujera. He is a co-founder at Afric Foundation. Hi, James. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Great. So you've been involved with multinationals, some brands that are out there. Tell us about how, because a lot of times we talk about small businesses, perhaps because we're in Nigeria and we look at it from this perspective. How are these multinationals dealing with digital transformation, and which is current conversation at this time? What's the trend among them?
Well, I think right now it's a period of rapid learning. And I'd say if there's one word, it relates to speed. When you have a startup, just a text message can pivot the whole strategy. And that's a lot more complex with multinationals. To grow, to close the growing development gap, Africa needs to think and execute like a startup.
So they already made, I mean, to a large extent. So when you talk about how they are, their level, what else are they aiming for? Talking about design, technology, innovation and all, what else are they looking out for?
Well, I think the rate of change is unprecedented. Software, for example, as we know, it may not exist in 2 years. So both technology and design are being fundamentally transformed by AI. But even far more, I guess, bricks and mortar or physical organizations are also seeing massive transformations. We're seeing airports, for example, implementing digital twins that simulate more efficient passenger flows in real time.
So when they engage in this transformation and AI and all of that, what do they look out for? Is it to increase market share? Is it to look more attractive? Is it, what are their targets of these multinationals?
Well, I think it's to also stay in business. There are new industries that are manifesting faster than people actually realize. And so the rate at which even a large global multinational can be disrupted is at a rate that is unprecedented in our history as humanity.
And talking about you also were president of the Surreal Chamber of Commerce. We want to localize the gains of these multinationals as a country in Nigeria, in Africa. What are some of those lessons that the up and coming can learn from these big guys?
Well, the first thing is when you have talented people, put them together. They'll be able to create exponentially more value and momentum that is far superior than the sum of their parts. So put them together and have them exchanging and riffing off each other. But also remember that everything that's global started with very, very local momentum somewhere.
And talking about people, what do you see as the most essential digital skills for the future?
Well, I think with the rate of change that we have right now, it's incredibly important to have curiosity and the willingness and ability to learn quickly. Those I'd say would be the most important skills.
I wonder if you think this is being adopted or inculcated into the education system, the learning system.
Well, our traditional educational system provided knowledge and then tested students' comprehension of that knowledge. Now we have to accept that in the age of AI, all of the world's knowledge is available at the tap of a smartphone. So educational institutions, essentially, they need to test the ability to leverage exponential knowledge, and that's the big shift.
All right, thank you so much, James Zaruchera, co-founder, Afric Foundation.
Thank you.
Let's take a break now. When we come back, we head to the markets. Please stay with us. Welcome back. It's still Business Incorporated here on Channels Television. Looking at the numbers now, and we see that the Nigerian stock market is still in a very high-speed move. So the market has hit 125,000, heading to 126, and may just hit that before the close of trade. So we see it's up 1.10%, and this is intraday numbers. We haven't closed yet. That's a good one, 125,818.94. Now we have our long lost client on the program today, Abdul Rashid Momo. It's good to have you back on the program. Good afternoon.
Well done. Thank you very much.
So you came back when the market is really, really on a bull run. I wonder if that's what brought you out of your hiding.
Honestly, what I said was, call me back when it gets to 125,000. This was in October. I did not expect the market to hit 125,000 so soon. It was so soon. The bulls have been on a major rally, firing all cylinders. As we speak, the market still looks very, very bullish.
So what's driving this very bullish run? And it's been on for months now.
Where will I start from? Well, let's. I always look at market in terms of technicals. I did say because most of my indicators are actually in a wave three, which is the longest bull wave in any rally, and that's what we've been seeing. And what I can say was the only thing that stalled the market then was when CBN announced the forbearance of those banks, and we saw some corrections, and market continues to rally. As we speak, the market is actually slowing down. Would have slowed down, but that's in terms of the penny stocks. And a lot of stocks that have been moving along the line, stocks like Ella Lake, Nimet, Livestock, International Breweries. But now we are seeing to see a change in the dynamics in terms of the banking stocks. The banking stocks were actually the ones that were not moving then. But I think with the listing of GTCO on the floor of the London Stock Exchange at 6 pence, which was about an equivalent of 93 naira, actually triggered the banking sector to start moving, I think, since yesterday or day before yesterday. So there's a change in dynamics that we are seeing more participation in the banking sector than any other sector.
What
So
about
we expect to
UBA?
see more of that.
Mr. Momo, what about UBA? We saw that news about the expansion and all of that, and I guess that must have been an exciting one for investors too.
Yes. As we speak, UBA is actually trading about 43.50 now. They've done about 59 million units. Volume are huge, you know. I mean, since yesterday, stock was about 37 naira. You can see the major movement. So most of these things are actually impacting in the market. I know how the market works. As if since they all belong to the same sector, apart from what you said about UBA, GTCO being listed in London stock exchange, seems to be driving all the other pairs in the banking sector to the upwards.
You mentioned the penny stocks. I know insurance has been thriving, really trying. What's happening to them now?
Those days I would say they used to be penny. Seems all of them seems to be going up now. When I mean penny stocks, you see stocks like Dow Communication, we see stocks like Omatech on the rise. It's even on full bid. We saw stocks like we knew where stocks like Ella Lake was coming from day one. We are seeing a lot of movement. What happens is that when market is in a bull trend, and we have what we call bargain hunters. They go for the penny stocks. Those are the stocks that they'll keep driving, you know. What the other advice I always tell people is it gets to an extent you need to be careful because financial sees it all. Penny stocks being, especially those ones that if you are backed with financials, great. But if you're not backed with financials, investors need to be very careful because as we are trading this market, I will see a lot of people playing the market as we are seeing now. And the only issue is when prices start dropping, those are the first set of stocks that will suffer because it's not backed by financials, and number two, there's no room for them paying any dividend. So what we are seeing now with what the banks are bringing out, we are beginning to see that some of those penny stocks are beginning to lose momentum, and people are actually moving money into the banking and the insurance sector.
So, Mr. Momo, what advice would you give at this time? Some people are wondering, are we still going up? Is it too late for me? Should I wait for a pullback? What do you see from this perspective?
You want to know the truth, you must, number one, you must have a trading plan. Are you satisfied with this current rally? If you are, because you see, I'll let's tell you one thing, the market is a relay. You always hand over the baton to someone. You can never buy at the lowest and sell at the highest. At any point in time, you must tell yourself, I call it quits. So if you're an investor, then the market is still good for you. For those people that are traders and begin to see some profit taken across the board, but the long term is the financial stocks that are strong in terms of financials. I think they should still hold on to those stocks because at the end of the day, the market, no matter how the market goes up, there will always be a correction.
you know, because I guess
Always be a correction.
that's just the natural cycle.
But the good thing that we should not look at this market as we had it in 2008. The 2008 crash was because a lot of funds were on margin loans, margin facility. Now the market is based on real cash. I know most of people are in real cash now, and the difference is even if you lose, there's no pressure on you selling your stocks. So they hold on and wait for another rally to come up another day. So that's the difference between the our last market, because this was the same scenario going up, and there was a major downtrend.
Another
Compared to this
difference,
one, this
Mr.
one it's bad with cash.
I think another difference, Mr. Momo, is this is mostly domestic investors, yes?
Yeah, definitely. And if you look at it in terms of valuation of naira, what did I say? GTB, that is the most expensive in terms of in Nigeria, is just 6 pence. Look, just do the conversion rate. You understand what I'm talking about. So GT is more like a penny stock there. So if you look at it in terms of conversion, in terms of dollar wise, most of our stocks are actually penny stocks.
Not to us, but well, thank you so much, Mr. Abdurrashid Momo. Good to have you back and hope you stay
Thank
with
you very
us.
much. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you, you too. All right, let's see other markets on the continent. We see for South Africa, it's in the red. This afternoon, it's down 0.62%, but it's been on a move also, 96,761.44. Egypt is closed today, closed yesterday, positive 0.52%, as well as Nairobi Stock Exchange for Thursday closed 0.45%. Then we move over to the Middle East. We see mixed color for the Middle East. For Dubai, it's positive 0.42%. These are two trading markets for Friday from the region. Abu Dhabi is also positive at intraday, but not so impressive. It's at 10,052. The other two markets that are not operating on Friday, Saudi Arabia and Qatar. We see Saudi is slightly down, closed slightly down yesterday. Qatar also down 0.02% at 10,827.19. Move to the United States there to see the numbers. The Dow futures lost 300 points as Trump escalates trade tensions. There you have it. S&P also in the red. U.S. stock dropped sharply with Dow Jones losing that, sliding as markets react to President Trump's 35% tariff on Canadian imports and threat of broader global tariffs. And you know, markets there are yet to adjust to the pharmaceuticals tariff. That's also a problem right there. So we see the Nasdaq is also in the red, 0.66%. The pullback comes a day after the S&P 500 Nasdaq hit record highs, buoyed by tech gains. Remember, yesterday we talked about that, and optimism around AI. However, the escalating trade war, including 50% tariff from copper and Brazilian imports, has raised concerns among the markets. Well, talking about yesterday, let's have Maria Bird now give us more details of the trade in the United States.
The U.S. stock market edged up higher on Thursday as the Dow Jones was up at 0.4%. The S&P 500 also up at 0.3%. And the heavy tech Nasdaq edged up at 0.1%, having a streak of wins for the week. As it's also clear that companies like NVIDIA saw some milestone days and some higher rates than once was expected. It is clear that investors are watching to see how the U.S. stock market will continue to respond, as there are tariff threats that are in play, but there could be still some signs of hope for the U.S. stock market.
Well, thank you, Maria. Let's head to Asia now, where most market closed mixed. In Asia, investors reacted to fresh trade tensions sparked by U.S. President Donald Trump at the announcement on Canada import or Canadian imports that's beginning in August. First, that is the latest one, and markets are reacting to blanket tariff of 15% to 20% on most U.S. trading partners, raising concerns about rising global trade friction. So we see the Nikkei is in the red too, following the trend of the U.S. markets. The Kospi of South Korea also in the red. The Hang Seng is different from that, 0.46%. Shanghai is just slightly positive, and then Nifty 50 of India is largely negative, 0.81%. Talking about the Asian market, let's find out how the Europe market is doing at this time with Lars Holters. Of course, we also have other conversations. Hi, Lars. Good afternoon. So we see a negative reaction by investors in the market, both in the US and in Asia. What's happening in Europe?
Ian, good to be with you again. It is all talk about trade here, just like you went to all these other countries. Very same situation here, as it has been for weeks. Pretty much, it just seems that investors almost find a different angle on the same old chaos every day. Earlier in the week, remember, there was optimism here as people were hoping for a not so bad treatment by the EU, by Donald Trump. However, the US president, of course, seems to now be in a much worse mood, and he's put higher tariffs, as you just mentioned, on Japan and South Korea early in the week, then on copper from Brazil, and now you just mentioned it, Trump's hiking up tariffs against Canada, and suddenly over here in Europe, they're saying, well, maybe we are indeed next, who knows? So the DAX is suddenly down by almost 1%, and if you look at all the other indices across Europe, it's the same picture. Spain is down 1%, France is down 1%. London, the FTSE 100 over only down 0.5%. Of course, London, Britain are no longer part of the EU, so the trade problems not quite the same here. But generally, the mood right now going out of this trading week is a rather bad one.
Yeah, well, let's talk about artificial intelligence. Supposed to be all good, but we are Switzerland is having a bit of a problem over AI written book.
Yes, it's true. What an interesting story here, really. There's a number of things going on that just don't seem well thought out. There's that company, Swiss communication giant Swisscom, and they had a marketing campaign focusing on AI. And as part of their efforts to inform about the technology, they had an artificial intelligence write a children's book. It's called The Monster Princess, and it's a story of young Princess Mia who wants to be a monster. Now, they could have seen trouble coming because having an AI write kids' bedtime stories just sounds wrong right off the bat. But giving it away for free in the company's stores was even worse. Now, it has angered bookstores as it obviously cuts into their market. And there are copyright questions because obviously artificial intelligence is not per se intelligent or creative. It works off data it has been fed, and that data would be, for example, children books written by real human authors and illustrated by real human illustrators. Their work is copyrighted, but apparently such work got fed into AI programs. Now these programs churn out and sell books, and authors fear for their jobs.
Last, I think they should have consulted you before going into this. How could they ask AI to write children books, for crying out loud, with all of the emotion and intelligence that you need to put in the book? Obviously, this was bound to be trouble from one side, but how much of a business isn't it from Europe's point of view?
Well, besides these rather grotesque stories, it is still a growing business, obviously, but it's only growing at a slow pace. And even though Germany has identified AI as a major future technology, we're not leading here. And I'm speaking for Germany now because that's the biggest market in Europe, and I'm not aware of major developments in, let's say, Switzerland. But here in Germany, we're taking AI seriously, especially since it can be integrated in engineering and in manufacturing. And those are, of course, our key economic strengths here. Now, the German Chamber of Commerce has recently come out with a study that says that AI will increase productivity in Germany. However, they're also saying it will not bring upon some kind of miraculous growth. For now until 2030, the chamber says that AI will increase productivity by around 0.9% annually. And then until 2040, it might even increase productivity by 1.2%. As for why it's not more, that is because at this point, only between 20 and 25% of companies are actually using AI. That means that within the European Union, Germany is a bit above average, but it's not quite as strong as some of the current EU leaders, which would be Denmark, Finland, and the Netherlands.
Always important to balance that. So it's increasing productivity, but we need to know the areas where they are being deployed to. Thank you so much, Lars, for bringing that to us.
Thank you, Ini.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll head to Africa. What's going on there? We'll tell you about it after the break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Still Business Incorporated here on Channels Television. Well, let's head to South Africa, where there are about 1.6 million households that are unelectrified in that country, particularly houses in deep rural areas and newly formed houses. The country's electricity minister highlighted this during his budget votes in Parliament. The government has allocated 13 billion rands to the Integrated National Electrification Program. He says that the goal is to use these funds to unlock additional capital through the debt market and concessional funding windows.
Therefore, undertaking a review of the current electrification program approach and initiated a comprehensive universal access strategy. This intervention aims to expand beyond its historic grid-centric model and adopt a coordinated, technology-neutral framework that accelerates access delivery, integrates grid and non-grid solutions, and institutionalizes implementation partnerships across all three spheres of government. The revised strategy is structured around three critical reforms. Namely, one, the reconfiguration of the delivery model to consolidate all access programs under one hybrid planning and funding framework, including the review of the current INEP grant towards a universal access grant. Secondly, to achieve infrastructure modernization with targeted investment in overloaded or undercapacitated networks to accommodate new connections and load growth. And lastly, to achieve innovation and off-grid integration, scaling microgrids and decentralized energy and smart grid systems for deep rural, peri-urban, and informal settlements.
Still in South Africa, small businesses are feeling the hit as new data shows that business confidence has fallen to its lowest level since July 2021. The June 2025 Purchasing Managers Index dipped to 50.1, signaling sluggish private sector activity and fueling concerns about the long-term survival of small and medium-sized enterprises. The latest figures confirm what many entrepreneurs across the country already know, which is that economic pressure is mounting, power cuts, limited access to funding, and red tape continue to strangle growth, especially in underserved regions like second-tier cities and townships. The Bank of Ghana has issued a directive mandating all virtual asset service providers operating in the country to register with the central bank by August 15, 2025, or risk regulatory sanctions. In a public notice signed by the Secretary to the bank, Ms. Sandra Thompson, the bank explains that the exercise is part of efforts to maintain financial stability, enhance innovation, and protect consumers within the digital financial ecosystem. The registration requirement applies to both locally based operators and foreign digital platforms offering services to persons resident in Ghana. It also covers a wide scope of virtual asset activities, including virtual asset exchange services, wallet provision or custody services, transfer of settlement services involving virtual assets, services related to the issuance or sale of virtual assets, such as initial coin offerings and stable coins. This development comes as a global financial regulators tighten oversight of the cryptocurrency and virtual asset space in response to concerns over money laundering, terrorism, financing, and financial stability. We're still in Ghana. The government has directed MultiChoice Ghana to reduce DSTV subscription fees by 30%, citing the recent strengthening of the Ghanaian cedi and widespread dissatisfaction among consumers over current pricing and content offerings. This move reflects mounting pressure on MultiChoice which has faced revenue declines and subscriber losses across Africa. During a recent meeting with DSTV leadership, including Dr. Katebe, Group Executive for Regulatory and Corporate Affairs, Ghana's Minister of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel Nate George, emphasized the government's responsibility to protect consumer interests. And the minister points out that despite the CD appreciating by approximately 30% over the past 5 months, DSTV prices have not adjusted accordingly, leading to perceptions of unfair pricing and reduced affordability for Ghanaians. In Zimbabwe, gold and foreign currency reserves backing Zimbabwe's bullion-linked monetary unit rose to a record high in June. The reserves climbed to $731 million from $639 million in May and $226 million in April last year, when the nation introduced Zimbabwe gold, the currency known as ZiG. Years of economic mismanagement doomed 5 attempts to create a functioning currency in the southern African nation, with the ZiG replacing the defunct Zimbabwean dollar, which was in free fall. Authorities now want this new unit to supersede the US dollar, which since 2009 has functioned as a dual transacting currency. Let's leave Ghana now. We go to Kenya. The government plans to welcome 5.5 million visitors by 2027 through collaboration with private sector players. This was the focus of a consultative meeting between the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife and the Kenya Association of Hotel Keepers and Caterers, where stakeholders pledged to deepen partnership. Stakeholders emphasized tapping into the niche of tourism areas such as meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions, alongside emerging segments like wellness, sports, and digital nomad tourism. The ministry noting that youth make up nearly 75% of the hospitality workforce, affirm its dedication to empowering young people as a pillar of sustainable growth. The Central Bank of Kenya has successfully raised 66 billion Kenyan shilling, beg your pardon, through a bond sale in July 2025, driven by strong investor demand for high yield. As investors rushed to acquire the comparatively high returns, the first Treasury bond sale of the fiscal year 2025-2026 raised 66.65 billion Kenyan shilling, surpassing the target of 50 billion shillings. The Central Bank of Kenya reopened 2 20- and 25-year bonds that were first offered on the market in 2018. The CBK received 30.57 billion Kenyan shilling of the 30.38 billion bids for the 20-year bond, while the uptick from the 25-year paper was 36.06 billion Kenyan shilling, based on offers of 43.83 billion. Well, this came as banking regulator aimed to inject liquidity into the market to get its new year borrowing program off to a strong start. While the 25-year bond has 18 years to maturity and a coupon that's real payable interest rate of 13.4, the 20-year bond has 12.8 years to maturity, a coupon of 13.2%. All right, now let's head to the crypto space and see it's not just the Nigerian stock market that's surging at this time. Bitcoin is also surging, and other coins too in the crypto space. So we see a green board this afternoon at 117,579.41, and that's in 24 hours, it's gained more than 6%, 6.14% to be precise. And we see other coins also doing well. Ethereum is really getting close to $3,000, 2,971 after it gained more than 7%. XRP hype. So it's a green market now, while the stock markets are looking so red. It seems this is where the goodies have run to, you know. So we'll have Rume to tell us what he thinks is driving this. But first, let's see the headlines. We see there Bitcoin hit 118, even though it's dropped to 117. That's a new time, a new high. We see there. And it's based on institutional demand. So every day here we've been talking about some of those moves that some institutional investors have been making. Even countries, a country like Japan, looking to hold reserve in Bitcoin or at least cryptocurrency. The talk of stablecoin also catching on. So this is what it results to, a new time high for Bitcoin. Bitcoin option traders target 120 as rally gains. Could it get to 120 real soon? We'll see that and also talk to Rume on that. Also, Chinese brokerage stocks surge on crypto trading hopes. Chinese brokerage stocks saw their biggest rally in nearly 9 months amid rising optimism that more firms could secure licenses to offer crypto trading services. The rally was driven by investor speculation that licensing upgrades could significantly boost brokerage earnings. Sentiment was further lifted by Shanghai regulator pledged to deepen research into digital currencies and explore blockchain. Even this morning, we had a conversation on that. It seems more institutions, more countries, institutional investors are looking the way of digital assets. Let's talk to Rume now, find out what he thinks. Hi, Rume. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, Ini. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, so 120 in the, how close is it? Is it very far? Is it, longer than where I am or where?
All right, so 120 is very close, but everyone is anticipating 120. But I think that the market is going to move beyond 120. Maybe psychological level 120. I'm not really that big on price. I like to talk more about value and how it affects the entire industry greatly. But if we get to that psychological level, most likely it's going to be somewhat like a pullback. And it might be that this pullback is going to send some people packing, send a lot of people to their village, if you ask me, because it's looking like what is going on now. The ETF guys are just buying and buying and buying, and at some point it's going to look like when they are going to sell to take profit, because the rich guys in the industry, the institutional investors in the industry, they don't buy at the top. At some point they are going to take profit. It's retailers that are the ones rushing and FOMOing into the market. So when they take their profit, the market is going to cascade. So let's say this cycle is different, and if they are going to take profit and we're going to see a 20, 30, 40% down, looking at 70K or something, it's going to destroy a lot of retailers. So to 120 psychological level, not bad, but I'm actually not really too excited because I know that this cycle we might see something even better before a downtime.
Well, 70 will be really low, Rume. I tell you, maybe to really send some people to the village. But why now? Why are we seeing this surge in adoption and institutional investors, just accommodating or accumulating these coins at this time? What's driving it?
So it is beyond Bitcoin. It is beyond the entire digital asset. The digital asset is just a segment of the entire industry. A lot of people are getting into, like the BlackRock of this world and all of that, are getting into the industry now because they are seeing an opportunity in an emerging industry. So they are jumping in to make profit, just basically making profit or holding a large amount of cryptocurrency for the future, but the industry is bigger. It's bigger than that. And a lot of things are being built right now, from the supply chain era to even law, entertainment, the NFTs, and a whole lot of areas, but the digital asset space is just a minute part that attracts a lot of persons. Is the cryptocurrencies are the money of the blockchain, so it's an opportunity to just hold it right now and get the best use of it. So that attracts a lot of people, to just hold and see value appreciate. So these institutional guys are betting on price. They're betting on price. They're not even betting on value. So that is what I'm worried about. But fantastically well, a couple of things are happening right now with laws in the US supporting cryptocurrencies, supporting the blockchain ecosystem, the Web3 ecosystem, which makes sense. Just less than 24 hours ago, the Ghanaian, the Bank of Ghana have actually told Web3 cryptocurrency platforms to come and register, which is very fantastic. Come and register with the banks, and after doing that, we are going to see the next step, which is those that qualify to get licensing, the procedure, which also suggests that Africa is not only that, West Africa is not only that. We are heavily involved in this, but people should look a bit away from just about the price and how much their portfolio is going to appreciate. Because at the end of the day, you end up just being a speculator. At the end of the day, either it's going up or going down, and time actually goes by that. But I think the real value should be building products that solve Africa's problem, real products, and stand the test of time.
Well, I wonder when you think that bubble will burst. But I mean, talking about products that solve Africa's problem, we hear a lot of conversation about adoption of stablecoin now. I wonder if you see that as one of the ways of building a product that solves Africa's problems.
Yes. Stablecoin is a big deal, and I'm very, very happy. Stablecoin is a big deal. I'm very happy. One of us in the space is making the best use of it. The CNGN product. It's a stablecoin backed by Naira. In collaboration with some of the banks, which makes fantastic sense. At the Decentralized Nigerian Conference held in Lagos on the 5th of July, it was the director actually spoke extensively with it, where you can do transactions in cryptocurrency and being paid in Naira, and you can transfer the digital Naira value to different parts. And it makes a whole lot of sense rather than transferring USDT or transferring USDC that are backed by and also designed by the US, which also promotes the US hegemony of preserving the dollar as the global standard for currency. So we need to be very focused on seeing how far we can build the Naira. In other words, also make sure that transactions are seamless and building also the industry. So it's a very fantastic thing. The idea of a lot of Nigerians finding it difficult to be able to access funds or move funds, this is quite different now. Things are changing really fast. All of those days of bank downtime, the blockchain industry is here. The blockchain space is here. The technology is affording us huge opportunity to move. Nigerians transfer money, those from abroad, those within, and see, like I usually say, we have a blessing, and which is our population. Our population is a blessing, and we should be focusing. Government should be focusing on this industry to make sure life of the average Nigerian youth that is jobless, it's actually been better. And I think this is the best opportunity for this to happen. And I'm really betting big on this industry. Stablecoin and so that other technology like social file, NFTs, we are so unique in our ways, and we can make sure that this attract a lot of investors from outside of Nigeria to better the economy.
All right, very optimistic there. We'll leave you with that optimism for the weekend. Rime, thank you so much for your time and views.
Thank you, Ini. It's my pleasure.
Okay, so that's it on the program. And it's good to end on an optimistic note. So that means we will have a great weekend, yeah? Thank you so much for being a part of the program from Monday up on today. We appreciate your time. Remember, you can always watch our programs on our YouTube channel at any time that you want. I'm Ini John Mekwa wishing you a restful weekend. Bye-bye.